Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room live. It is a Friday. There's lots to talk about. Obviously, we missed a stream yesterday, so there's a fair bit to catch up on. It is fairly relentless at the moment with Arsenal news, which is good. We've been waiting for this transfer window to kickstart, and we're flying at this point. So I hope you're all well. There's loads of you here already, which we love to see. It's the end of the week. We can relax. Junior Films, Ethan Udall, VV, Vlad has footy, Big Golby, Carter, Magnus. Good to see you. Ross Lorman, Oslo, Guna, Jakob, Tom, Nid. It is good to see you. Max Evans is here as well. Early to a stream for the first time in a while. You love to see it. But look, we're going to be talking Mosquera that came out of absolutely nowhere. We're going to be talking Eze. How legitimate are the links? How far along is that? Is it instead of Rodrygo? Could it be with Rodrygo? We're going to be talking about that as well. And this Gyokeres Sesko ongoing saga. What is the latest? Liam Rushworth, unbelievable. $9.99 super chat to get things going. Thank you very, very much, Liam. Shout out 2017 FA Cup final, Rob Holding. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. Am I missing something there? I mean, I appreciate it. Shout out to Rob Holding. Got asked to take my late dad's number and place in a team that have an annual charity match, and now it's Rory live stream. Happy Friday. You love to see it. Ross Lorman on the pitch. What type of player are you? What type of player are you, Ross? I played a lot of football yesterday. If you follow on TikTok, there will be videos of me playing football yesterday. Might be too old for it. I might be washed, to be honest with you, based on how yesterday went. Incredibly stiff today. And not just about the Mosquera news. So, is this actually Arsenal building an actual squad? It might be. It might be Arsenal building an actual squad. So, look, let's get into it. The latest on Mosquera. So, of course, yesterday, it came once again, much like the Norgard deal, very quickly. Throughout the day, it went from Arsenal are interested in Mosquera to Arsenal are actively bidding, and this is getting close. So hand of Arsenal yesterday. Arsenal now aiming to close a deal for Christian Mosquera for a fee under 19 million euros. Personal terms not seen as an issue. Still some work to be done, but talks are very advanced. Andrea Berta is aiming to get the player in for pre-season if possible. That was followed up today with this. New round of talks will commence soon after Valencia rejected Arsenal's opening offer for Christian Mosquera. Personal terms, as reported, are not an issue at all. And I think this is good. I think it's promising. When we spoke about Jorel Hato, the one kind of caveat to Jorel Hato was that perhaps a right centre-back was more important. And it seems like that's what we're going for. Obviously, Mosquera's 21 today. Happy birthday to him. Has had 2 good seasons at Valencia. A lot of experience for a guy who's literally just turned 21, 2 full seasons as a starting centre-back in La Liga. You might have seen him at the under-21 Euros recently. Obviously played against England. And I think it's decent. It sounds like Valencia wants somewhere between 20 and 25 million euros. So I expect if we offer slightly more, we will get it done. There are reports that we are looking at a 6-year deal and giving him obviously a decent pay rise because he's not on that much. So I think it could work well. Did you see that Fabrizio said that Arsenal have a lot more planned for the summer as well? Looking back, the impatience was silly. Look, it does sound like, from what Ornstein's saying, from what Fabrizio's saying, it does sound like Arsenal are genuinely going big this summer. And that these sort of smaller deals, they're just the starters. They're the appetizers for what is coming. And that is exciting. But look, I still understand the frustration that was beginning to build, even though it was premature, just because of the way that we've been let down in previous windows. So I could understand that. But honestly, what I think we are doing now is really impressive. I think the way that we've sped through Norgard seems like we're going to do that with Mosquera. These aren't glamorous signings. These aren't, your Florian Wirtz or whoever, but they are necessary signings. These are the sort of gritty signings that you need to make. And we're doing it well. Ornstein actually said that we want 3 attackers. Exciting if we get all that done. Yeah, he did. He's been consistent. in saying that Arsenal want 3 attacking signings. So that, I think, is where the Eze links are quite interesting. Who authorized this @ thing over at YouTube? Looks as bad as United season. Yeah, it does. Everyone's got their ats. I'm not a fan of it. You're actually. I wasn't sure if I was just imagining things, but you are right. Do you think that if we sign Mosquera, we can still get 3 attackers? I think so. Yeah, I think so because it was still being spoken about 3 attackers when we were looking at Jorel Hato. Now Mosquera's half the price that Jorel Hato would have cost. So I think it'll be interesting to see whether it means we can still go for Jorel Hato. I think that's the one that could be impacted. And I think that will all depend on whether or not we can shift Zinchenko and Kivior. And look, ultimately, that's not an insane priority right now. I'm not desperate to move Kivior on. I do massively like Hato, and I think it would long-term be a good signing for us. But I think that's something that will happen later in the window if it happens. The issue is other teams are interested in Hato, like Chelsea are really interested in Hato, so it might end up being one of those ones that just gets away from us, unfortunately. Liam, thank you very much for the $1.99 super chat. Any more Twitch? Yes, Twitch will be returning soon. One of the issues I've had, it's been so hot recently. This room gets so hot that, in the evening, do I want to sit there for 2 hours, roasting in here? Not always. And also, I've just not gamed. Literally, since the last Twitch stream, I've not turned the PlayStation on. But they are going to return because I do want to get back into it. I just miss sitting and chilling in the evenings chatting to the Twitch chat. So, yeah, if you do want to follow the Twitch, by the way, the link is down in the description, as always. And whilst we're talking about links in the description, if you want to join the Discord and chat with people about Arsenal throughout the day, then you can do that as well. And whilst we're just plugging everything, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Please like the stream if you've not done so already. We're now 500 subscribers away from 20,000. So we are close. And I do appreciate all of the support. I really do. And Liam, thank you again for that $1.99. Is the Discord active again? It's kind of active. If more of you get in there, it'll be more active. So, Alex on the Cannon podcast yesterday said that we're getting all the depth signings of Zubimendi pre-July for FFP. Then July opens a new FFP window in which we hopefully spend the best part of 200 million on big signings. Yeah, I think that's true. And that's why I think what we're doing now is good. We're getting all of the small things that don't, aren't going to cause any problems with FFP. Get them done and then open up in July. Turn on the taps for the big signings. And this is why, I still can't understand people getting angry about these signings. There are still a small section of people that think that we're signing Mosquera instead of signing a striker. It's insane. Arteta and Andrea Berta haven't just sat down and gone, oh, this Sesko deal's proven a bit difficult to do, so should we just go and sign Mosquera instead? It's just not how it's working. And I think getting this work done just means that we can focus on them. I'd rather do it this way round rather than we get into July, we haven't done any of this work because we're just so focused on Sesko and the left winger, Rodrygo, whoever it may be, and then we're halfway through July and we're like, oh crap, we've actually still got to make 6 signings and we're about to go on the preseason tour. So yeah, I just think it's been good. And I think the last few days as well, the speed at which we've carried out almost, I don't think Mosquera is a backup option, but the speed at which we carried out Norgard after we decided, okay, Partey's not happening, I think that's good. And I think these backup options that we seem to have for every signing we want to make are very good. Rory, do you think we need to have a different profile of winger in our armoury, even after getting Rodrygo and Eze? In my opinion, we have no winger who can create chaos and impart pace into games. Possibly. To me, Eze is the sort of player that can cause chaos. Eze can pick the ball up from anywhere, carry it past 2 or 3 players, get a shot off. So I do feel like Eze would maybe be that person, slightly more so than Rodrygo. But then I think Rodrygo's all-round game is better. Look, that could maybe be a player like Bakayoko. If we go for that third attacking signing, maybe that's where that comes in. Just someone that you can throw on as a bit of a roll of the dice if you need it. Otherwise, maybe, I don't know, Martinelli. He's got the pace, but not really the chaos. He also said he'd love to get you on for a pod. Well, there we go. There we go. Maybe it'll happen soon. Maybe. Let's be real. Some of our fans online want us to have a bad transfer window. No matter what we do, they are negative. Yeah, 100%. 100%. There are people that enjoy being miserable. There are people that want to be proven correct. There are genuinely people, and I've had people comment, Arsenal fans comment, oh, I can't wait for Sesko to flop, and then you try and defend it. And it's like, what a weird thing to say. If we sign Sesko, why would you be desperate for him to flop just so that you can get a reaction from me? Like, it's odd. I think it's odd. Sasha Tavalieri was saying that Dortmund are closing in on Bakayoko. That's a shame. That is a shame. I didn't see that, actually. Again, this is where we're going to have a bit of difficulty, I think, because I think the third attacking signing is going to be so much later in the window that some of the options that you might want will have disappeared by that point. But I just don't think you can do it yet. I have a confession to make. Just realized I wasn't subbed to the channel. For all of the times that I've said to make sure you're subscribing it, and you'd never once checked. Unbelievable. I appreciate you subscribing now, though. Can't believe it. I had a mod who wasn't subbed. Did you see Duncan Castles linking us to Nicholas Jackson? I don't know what it is. I just don't care for Duncan Castles. It wouldn't surprise. The thing is, it's very easy to just link Chelsea players with Arsenal at this point. I can't see any world in which we would move for Nicholas Jackson. Any world at all where that would make sense. So, is the thing that T-Nat said about Eze true? Yeah, look, we'll get onto the Eze thing now. We'll get onto the Eze thing. So, it came out from Team News and Ticks yesterday. Arsenal have an agreement on personal terms with Eberechi Eze, and the player wants the move. Crystal Palace price is 3 installments of 20 million, so 60 million in total, with 8 million in add-ons. And I think breaking it down into 3 installments makes it more doable. However, with the way Andrea Berta operates, this could just be a backup plan for the club's #1 left winger target. Now, look, Team News and Ticks was 2 years ago was the guy when it came to Declan Rice. He had a tough summer last summer, and I don't know. I don't know if I trust it. Now, in terms of what other people have said, John Cross in the Mirror has said Arsenal have held talks over a move for Eberechi Eze and could now rival Tottenham in pursuing a deal for the Crystal Palace star. Ben Jacobs said this: Arsenal have added Eberechi Eze to their list of left-wing targets. Eze also being considered by Spurs. He has a 68 million release clause in his Palace contract. Rodrygo also remains of interest. Real Madrid winger will discuss his future with Xabi Alonso before deciding whether to explore an exit. Real are prepared to sell for around 90 million euros. So there's nothing new particularly on Rodrygo, I don't think. The only thing I suppose is that once again, last night he didn't start for Real Madrid. He did come off the bench this time. He got about 25 minutes at the end of the game. Again, playing off the right, which means so far, 3 games into the Club World Cup, he has played under 90 minutes in total and only off the right. So I think he will be moving, and that's without Mbappe and without Mastantuono being involved. So, I just don't see a world in which he stays at Real Madrid, especially in a World Cup year where he's actually in danger of missing out on the World Cup squad. I think he'll move. Nid, thank you very, very much for gifting a membership to the channel. That makes up for your lack of a sub. No, honestly, it's incredibly generous of you. Whoever just got made a member, by the way, if you've just been made a member, you've now got a green name. There you go, Philip. Philip has been, and it's always good to see someone that's a regular in the chat getting made a member as well. So there you go, Philip, congratulations. And Nid, thank you very, very much. But yeah, on Eze, like I said, Team News and Ticks, not on the level of Hand of Arsenal at this point. By the way, the generational run that Hand of Arsenal is on, I've actually never seen it from what was originally a Twitter in the know. Back-to-back, do you know how crazy it is that in back-to-back days, he broke the Partey news with Fabrizio Romano and then broke the Mosquera news and had David Ornstein saying after Hand of Arsenal at the end of it. People that doubted him, I don't think you can doubt it anymore. You've got the most credible journalists in the game referencing him, working with him. It's pretty incredible. Can Team News and Ticks pull it back though? That's the question. Can he pull it back with this Eze story? Now, in terms of Eze, I think it's a great option. I do think it's a great option. He's versatile, which we know Arteta loves a versatile forward. He could drop into midfield. You know, at times he can drop into midfield. In some games, I think he could do. He can't do what Ødegaard does, but we may set up in a way where actually Eze over Ødegaard is something that's looked at. Only if Ødegaard needs a break, in my opinion. Off the left, I think he offers something different. I've actually really enjoyed seeing him off the left for England. And so we'll wait and see. You know, I do still think Rodrygo would be my preference. I don't think it would be Rodrygo and Eze. I would, if we could somehow do, I mean, if we somehow in July did Rodrygo, Eze, and Sesko, it would be incredible. It would be incredible. I don't believe that we could do that, but I might be wrong. Frederick, thank you very, very much for the £2 super chat. Kivior being sold is a mistake. Zinni and Yasu need to be sold. I don't disagree. I would be very happy keeping Jakub Kivior. I think he performed well enough at the end of last season that I'd be happy keeping him. The question is, if you can raise money from him to go out and get Joel Hatto, I do think that's an upgrade long term. Tomiyasu can't be sold this summer because he's injured. This is the problem. Like, Tomiyasu is, you know, he can't be sold. So that's the issue with that one. But thank you very much for the £2. Hand of Berta. Thank you very much for gifting a membership to the channel. If you've just been gifted a membership by Hand of Berta, please do thank him for that one. Incredibly generous of you. And Stefan has gifted a membership to the channel as well. So if you've just been gifted a membership by Stefan, please thank him. Looking to see a couple of new green. There you go. Matt the Gunner was gifted a membership by Stefan. You'll love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. All three of you, thank you very much for that. It's incredibly generous, and it does go back into the channel, so it does massively help. Eze, Rodrygo, and Sesko would be a 10-10 window. Yeah, easily. Easily. If you said at the start of the window, on top of Zubimendi, we were going to go and do Sesko, Rodrygo, and Eze, and then fill a couple of gaps with Norgard and Mosquera and Kepa, I mean, that would be nuts. It would. I don't think it will happen. Truthfully, I mean, I'm not even convinced that Sesko and Rodrygo will happen. I'd love it to. And I think if we're ambitious, the opportunity is definitely going to be there. I just couldn't see you doing Eze on top of it. It would be arguably the best transfer window we'd ever had in terms of the amount of business that we'd done. Are you doing any watch-alongs of the preseason or World Club Cup this summer? Probably not the Club World Cup. There won't be any Club World Cup watch-alongs. I physically cannot pretend to be interested enough. Watch-alongs for the preseason tour, maybe, depending on what time they are. The issue is when they're at like 3 a.m, like, for the sake of people that live with me and around me, I can't be doing a watch along at 3 o'clock in the morning. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see how it goes. Carrington, thank you very, very much for the $4.99 super chat. If we decide on Sesko, how many goals do you think he scores first season? How many goals does Sesko score in his first season? I would say between 15 and 20 in all competitions. Now, you might think that's not much. Like, Havertz was on track to do that last season. And the reason is, I still think Havertz will start a lot of games for Arsenal. I don't think Sesko would start 50 games for Arsenal next season if we brought him in. And 15 to 20 goals, if you're then helping to provide goals from the left and the right and behind, you know, that's all we need. So, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that Sesko comes in and scores, you know, 35 plus goals, because I just don't think that's realistic at this stage of his career. Max, thank you very, very much for gifting a membership as well. This is unbelievable. Whoever's just been gifted a membership by Max, if you now have a green name, please do make sure to thank him. And Carl has gifted a membership. This is crazy. Thank you very much, Carl. Massively appreciate the support. And again, if you've just been gifted, make sure to thank him. There you go. Baron is one of the people that's been gifted. You absolutely love to see it. 600 plus viewers. I remember the less than 100 days. Hey, shout out to the people that were here when we had less than 100 viewers on streams, the OGs. And so the best thing is, so many of those names are still in the chat. And I am incredibly grateful for that. But look, yeah, over 600 of you here. As always, if you could subscribe, turn your notifications on so you know when I'm going live, and click the like button, that would be phenomenal. What were you doing with the other TikTokers? We played some football. We did some football challenges, and then we went to the pub and had a few pints. So I am feeling a little bit worse for wear today. But we plow on. We plow on. Hand of Berta with another gifted membership. Hand of Berta, thank you so much. Honestly, incredibly grateful for that. Again, if you've just been, there we go. Nans, however you pronounce it. Welcome to the membership club. You love to see it. Surely we want Gyokeres over Sesko. I mean, we've had this conversation so many times, but for me, I think long-term Sesko is the one that I want, but I really wouldn't be unhappy with Gyokeres. I'd be very happy with Gyokeres. I just think, like, rationally and sensibly, I just feel like Sesko is the one to do. Oh, you're Didada. Yeah, it's weird. It's showing everyone's ats instead of their actual names. But there you go. Didada. Welcome. You love to see it. Nid has gifted a membership. This is mental. Nid, thank you very, very much. Honestly, one of the biggest supporters of the channel on here and on Twitch. So I do massively appreciate that. And again, if you've just been made a member by Nid, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. Can't be outdone, can I? There you go. It's not a competition, but I do appreciate it. Talking of Victor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko. In fact, we'll do that in a second because Liam Rushworth has given another $1.99 super chat. Liam, thank you very, very much. Any updates on the Saliba contract? I don't think so. I don't think we've had an update on the Saliba contract recently, but the general feeling, I think, is that it's moving in the right direction. We're hearing more and more that Konate to Real Madrid sounds like it could be in the pipeline. So yeah, we'll wait and see on Saliba. But the way that we've done Gabriel and Miles Lewis-Skelly, I think makes you confident, you know. Stefan's gifted 5 memberships. Unbelievable. Stefan, thank you very, very much. If you've just been gifted a membership by Stefan, Sam Berry's been given one. You'll love to see it. Mark Gregory's been gifted one as well. Absolutely sensational. Thank you very much. That is, honestly, 5 memberships is incredibly generous, Stefan. And you'd already done one before that as well. This is crazy. And Max has been a member for 14 months. That's the sort of commitment that we absolutely love to see. Max, I appreciate it. Love to see the growth up the OGs. Up the OGs indeed. And I tell you what, Ethan Udall, the OGs remember the Luton preview. The OGs remember the Luton preview. I mean, that was a stream that will never be... That was a stream that will never be topped. That was a ridiculous stream. The Luton preview, especially because it was just a Luton preview. But I appreciate it, honestly. Really, really do appreciate it. Nothing will ever beat the Luton preview stream because of the superclass and the memberships. Yeah, it was nuts. But on to Victor Gyokeres, Benjamin Sesko, the latest in the saga. Victor Gyokeres seemingly is back on track to go to Manchester United. And we'll get there in a second. But Hand of Berta has given another membership to the channel. Hand of Berta, thank you very, very much. Again, if you've just been made a member, if you've now got a green name, please do thank Hand of Berta. This is incredible. Honestly, all of this stuff goes back into the channel, and it massively, massively does help. So that is incredible. Frederick has given a £2 super chat as well. Frederick, thank you very, very much. Opinions on Nick Woltemade as a striker. He is a GOAT. I think he's going to Bayern Munich. I think Woltemade is, if that's how you pronounce it, Woltemade. Yeah, I think he's going to Bayern Munich. So looks good. He's been playing in the under-21 Euros very, very well. But yeah, I don't think he's been on our radar. So there you go. Ebby, thank you very, very much for becoming a new member. Someone's paid for their own membership. You love to see it. Ebby, thank you very, very much. Welcome to the Rory Talks Football community. Welcome to the membership club. Enjoy your green name. And yeah, the chat is on a generational run right now. Absolutely sensational. And Evie, thank you so much. I massively do appreciate that. He didn't look good in Germany's first team, though. To be honest, I'm not even sure I watched him in Germany's first team. But the thing is, like, someone that young, just breaking through, was that in the Nations League as well? You probably got to give him time. There you go. Borko's one of the people that's been given a membership. You'll love to see it. And Max, thank you very, very much for the 249 super chat. Watch along for the under-21 final tomorrow. Probably not. If I'm honest with you, probably not. The weather is lovely. It's the weekend. Just feels like a pub garden. It just does. I'll be honest with you. So probably not. But Max, thank you very, very much for that. So on to Victor Gyokeres to Manchester United. Benjamin Sesko, what is happening? The Mirror said this: Manchester United are back in pole position to sign Victor Gyokeres. He is ready to reunite with his former manager Ruben Amorim at Old Trafford. Abola PT, a Portuguese outlet, have then said that Manchester United are now engaged in club-to-club negotiations for Victor Gyokeres, and Team Talk are saying Victor Gyokeres has now informed Manchester United that he wants to join them this summer. Now, none of those three sources are like great sources, so I would take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but lots of those now saying that it seems like he wants to go to Manchester United. Tom, thank you very, very much for the €2.49 super chat. Just says, think I have to join in. You don't have to join in. Nobody has to join in, I promise you. But I'm incredibly grateful. And I have to say thank you for that. So, Tom, thank you very much. So none of those sources I think are credible. Or no, they can be credible. It's not like a major source that's saying it. However, I do think, Victor Gyokeres needs to make his mind up fundamentally, but I do think the fact that he is supposedly now back to saying, oh yeah, actually, I would quite like to go to Manchester United, suggests again that Arsenal are pursuing Benjamin Sesko as the priority. And we have heard that a lot. Fabrizio Romano today said the conversation for Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyokeres is still ongoing, with daily contacts between all parties involved. Arsenal are on it, so let's see what they will decide. For sure, a new striker will be at Arsenal this summer. So yeah, I just think it's going to happen in July. I think it's going to happen in the first couple of weeks of July. We're still just playing a waiting game with Leipzig. I really do think this is just a case of waiting out Leipzig until they agree to a lower price, which I think is reasonable because I think they're asking for too much at the moment. So pay double the money for half the goals? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's no guarantee that Victor Gyokeres comes to the Premier League and continues scoring at the rate he has been in Portugal. I think he would score an awful lot of goals, and I think he would score an awful lot of goals for Arsenal. And that's why I would be very happy if we signed him. But there's no guarantee. And I also think Sesko will score more goals at Arsenal than he does at Leipzig. I think the amount of chances that we create, especially the ability to float the ball into the box from the corners of the area, I think that he would score a huge number of goals for Arsenal. So, yeah, look, I can understand why we're going for Sesko. I would also be happy with Gyokeres. And I know, like, some people don't like that opinion. Some people want you to be like, we have to sign Sesko, and if we don't sign him, then we're ruined, and the project is ruined. And then some people are like, oh, we have to sign Gyokeres, and if we don't, then it's, I don't think it is that. I just don't think there's that much of a difference. There is a big difference in terms of the way that they'll affect us long term. Short term, I don't think there's a huge difference. What has Hand of Arsenal tweeted today? His tweet today was... Oh, a little voice crack there. His tweet today was just that a new round of talks will commence soon after Valencia rejected Arsenal's opening offer for Christian Mosquera. Personal terms, as reported, are not an issue at all. So I do think the Mosquera thing will happen quite quickly. If it is a deal that we want to get done by the end of June, then we have got 3 days remaining. So maybe it happens on Monday. But we'll have to wait and see. It sounds like there's only a few million euros between what they want and what we've offered. So I do think it will happen quite quickly. Opinions on Lee Gunner, and have you ever had an interaction with him? There's been a lot of one-way interaction. He just abuses me a lot, and I tend to ignore it. So that's kind of how that goes. So many members now. He won't be able to respond to anyone else now. I will always try. The green... I'll be honest, the green names and the blue names, they do just, get my attention more in the chat just because they're different coloured. But I do still try and get through as many people's comments as I can. But these days, look, there's 660 of you here. We have the privilege and the honor of a very quickly moving chat, which I'm incredibly grateful for. Eze and Rodrygo. I mean, look, that's the dream. If we somehow pulled that off, you know, if we went into next season with a list of attacking options that was Havertz, Sesko, Rodrygo, Eze, Saka, Waneri. You've also got Jesus coming back. You'd have to sell one of Trossard and Martinelli. Like, you'd legit have to sell one of Trossard and Martinelli. But that would be an incredible selection of attacking players to have. Which Mosquera do you prefer? The Wolves one? No. Strangely enough, I don't prefer the Wolves Mosquera after he basically just tried to finger Gabriel Jesus. He's not really on my Christmas card list, to be honest with you. Where would Eze play? Off the left, centrally behind a striker, potentially. I mean, again, I always come back to the idea that Arteta has stressed he wants options. He's always said he wants to go into games with a bit of what's the word? I've literally completely lost the word that I'm trying to think of. Not volatility. What's the word? Unpredictability. There's a better word than that, but basically unpredictability. The Wolves dude is fruity. He was crazy. Do you know what's crazy? When you actually look back at last season, the absolute nonsense started game week 1 with Mosquera. Would you consider doing live stream collaborations with other YouTubers? Haven't seen you on other channels in a while. Yeah, I would. Obviously, I go on Mo's channel a fair bit when I can, and I was on Latte Firm with FK the other night, which was really nice. Hopefully, be back on there soon. I should get more people on this channel, to be honest, so that we don't just have to listen to me for 45 minutes. But yeah, I should work on that. He barely played as well due to his injury. Some say it was karma. There you go. Ødegaard's too comfortable. We need Eze because of that. I don't think Ødegaard's comfortable. I don't think Ødegaard's the sort of player that would feel comfortable, to be honest with you. But there's no harm in competition. And Eze can also play off the right. You know, I think we have to get into the mindset of not like when you sign a player, they don't have to be a guaranteed starting player. The fewer guaranteed starting players you have, the better, because that means you've got competition. So yeah, if Rodrygo ends up being an impossible deal, do we just go for Eze, or should we consider players like Leao or Semenyo, all very different profiles? Yeah, well, I think there are a few players on the list. I think Morgan Rogers is still on the list. I think Villa are desperate not to sell him, but perhaps if an offer comes in that they can't refuse, then they let Morgan Rogers go. But again, that's where I'm like, Rogers and Eze are very different to Rodrygo. You know, I see them more as being slightly central players. So that's where I'm like, if you've got Rogers and Eze on a list, is that list a different list to the left winger that was Nico Williams and Rodrygo? And that's what I find interesting. That's the only part of me that thinks maybe it is possible that we're looking to try and do both, which would be the dream. But how many guaranteed starters do you think we have if we pull off Sesko and Rodrygo? If we did Sesko and Rodrygo, at that point, the guaranteed starters are David Raya, William Saliba, Gabriel, Declan Rice, I still think Martin Ødegaard, just because we won't have the alternative to Martin Ødegaard. Saka, and probably Rodrygo long term. But even Rodrygo, I don't think he'd necessarily be a guaranteed starter straight away because of the comfort of Martinelli and Trossard. But the positions that wouldn't be a guaranteed starter, right back, I don't think there's a guarantee between Timber and Ben White. Left back, I don't think there's a guarantee between Miles Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori. I think if Calafiori stays fit this season, Miles Lewis-Skelly might end up playing fewer minutes, certainly fewer minutes at left back than he did this season, the season just gone. I mean, I feel like Zubimendi will end up being a guarantee, but early on, there's no guarantee that it's him, and you could maybe end up seeing Rice and Marino as an option a fair bit. And then the striker, I don't think there's any guarantee that a player starts ahead of Kai Havertz. So, yeah, they're the ones I would say. MLS in there too. I don't think he will be guaranteed. I really do think if Calafiori's fit, Calafiori at times was really important for us. Came up with some really important moments. And hopefully the summer off would have helped him. Can't wait for Arsenal players booked or sent off for not wanting to do the in-game interview after being subbed, or don't hold the door open for the cameraman on his way into the dressing room. Honestly, those interviews that they're going to do during the game. I mean, it will be objectively hilarious if a team concedes whilst, like, if a player's team concedes whilst he's doing an in-game interview. That will objectively be funny. 95% of the interviews will be incredibly boring, and it will be a player just hashing out the same lines, depending on the state of the game. Yeah, we're doing well. Hopefully we can see it out. Or, yeah, we're pushing for a winner. Hopefully we can do it. There might be a couple of ones where you get a bit of head loss. You know, if a player has been substituted and they don't think they should have been, maybe you get a bit of head loss. But I don't think they'll be amazing, to be honest with you. Has there been any updates on the Trossard extension? Seems to have gone quiet. Wonder if we might sell. Yeah, nothing. But then again, there's not really been anything on the Martinelli either. So you've got between Martinelli and Trossard, you'd imagine one of them's going to have to get a new deal, unless long term we looked at selling both. So yeah, but we've not heard anything yet. This used to happen in cricket, and if a batsman gets out, peak reactions. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I guess you kind of get it in Formula One. You get it in Formula One where, like, if a driver crashes out of the race, they'll do like an interview in the pit lane. It can be entertaining. It can be. Thing is, Setanta Sports tried this and it bombed. Man, remember Setanta Sports? They came out of nowhere and then just also disappeared. Can you do any accents? I can. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, though, so... Nid, I appreciate everything that you did in the stream today. Have a good one. We need an attacker and a left back. The club by other positions. I am just tired. But again, okay, so this is what I'm saying. Just because we've not signed an attacker yet doesn't mean that the club prioritize Mosquera or Norgard. It is just that those deals are far more straightforward to do, and so we've done them first because that makes more sense. We're still working on Sesko. If we want Rodrygo, there's nothing we can do right now because he's at the Club World Cup. And so this is the thing. It's like, I said it on a TikTok, it's like you're going for a meal, right? And you're really hungry. And the most important part of the meal is the food. It's the main course. So you ordered the main course and you're focused on the main course. And the kitchen are focused on the main course. Everyone knows the main course is the most important part of this meal and is the thing that is going to solve your hunger. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to bring you your drink first. And if they bring you your drink first, they are not saying the drink is the most important part of this. Once you've had the drink, you will be happy. It's just that that's the easier thing to do. So they do it first, you know? Hey, what's your latte firm? Heard your preference was Sesko. What happened to the Gyokeres train? Didn't want to ask there. Much love. The Gyokeres train still exists. It's running parallel with the Sesko train. That's the thing. And I just think long term, I just think Sesko works out better. But like I've said, I'd be delighted. With Victor Gyokeres as well. How was the link up with the football TikTokers? It was great. They are a group of fine gentlemen. And we had a fantastic day. Zubi announcement on the 1st of July. We will be there. Yeah, that was the thing that's come out today. Like, basically confirmation. Like, Zubimendi's going to be announced next week. Sounds like Kepa's going to be announced next week as well. I'd imagine Norgard will be announced next week. It's just going to be a week of announcements next week by the sounds of things. But there's no rush on them. to be honest. You going on a pod anytime soon? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Nothing in the pipeline, to be honest with you. Metaphor brought a tear to our eyes. You understand it, though. It makes sense. Arteta sexuals trying to explain. Yeah, see, I just feel like that comment goes crazy in a different community. That people probably laugh at that in a different community. I just don't think it works here, to be honest. Hey, Rory, big fan, from Judge Mo. As a Liverpool fan, my serious opinion is Arsenal midfield has gotten weaker, and you won't, I assume that means contest next season. That's fair enough if that's your opinion. In my opinion, Zubimendi is an upgrade on Thomas Partey, for sure. And Norgard is not an upgrade on the Jorginho that was at his best at Arsenal. But he probably is an upgrade in terms of what Jorginho would have been able to offer us next season if he stayed, purely from a physical perspective. So I personally don't see how our midfield can be considered weaker next season than it was this season, in my opinion. But we're all entitled to our own. I've noticed Liverpool fans getting real cocky. It's going to be an interesting season. Listen, I'm happy. I'm happy with us being written off. I'm happy with us going under the radar. I think it's nonsensical to write us off because even without making any signings, okay, we need to replace the players that are leaving, but outside of that, we still have a squad that we know was capable of pushing 90 points. So, I think it's a bit crazy, but, Bradley, thank you very, very much for the $1.99 super chat. Yo, Rory the racing car. Good to catch you live. It's good to catch you live. Thank you very much for the $1.99. I do appreciate that. Remember when West Ham had a 10-10 window? I feel like West Ham have had so many 10-10 windows that have just turned out to be terrible. I said it last season. Last summer, I thought West Ham had a brilliant summer, and it was completely wrong. So, turned out like Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the only good signing that they made. Jorginho physically dropped off massively last year. It was a good time for him to be moved on, in my opinion, as much as he will be missed in the dressing room. Yeah, 100%. Jorginho will be missed in the dressing room. His leadership will be missed. His experience will be missed. Thomas Partey, I think people ended up overrating Thomas Partey's season last season. He had a good season. He had a season that no one thought was probably possible in terms of the consistency of staying fit. But there were times where he cost us and cost us quite dearly. And I feel like people kind of overlook that looking back at it. Jorginho will be back as a coach, hopefully. But the thing is, there's a lot of players that could end up being coaches and or future managers of Arsenal. You look at, Carlos Cuesta, depending on how he does in the Serie A, maybe he comes back at some point. You've got Cesc Fabregas doing a really good job at Como. Maybe he comes back at some point. And yeah, like you said. And then you've got like Cazorla, who I'd love to see back at the club one day. There's quite a few of them. These sorts of central midfielders that have played for us. Carlos Cuesta didn't play for us, but these central midfielders that just have a good understanding of the game. Insane that Thomas Partey wanted a raise. Yeah, look, it genuinely was insane that Thomas Partey wanted a raise. Like, it was never going to happen. Thomas Frank said on Danish TV that Christian Norgard is a guaranteed upcoming manager. There you go. We're just a pipeline. We are, and compare that to Fergie's boys. Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's been sacked today. All of them failed at it. Gary Neville failed. Ruud van Nistelrooy's failed. Roy Keane failed. Paul Scholes failed. None of them have done it. Do you think we will get Hato now? I think it's less likely. Mainly because I think for us to do Hato, we'd have to wait until later in the window to make sure that we'd got the striker and the left winger done. And I just think Hato might be snapped up before then. I think he might end up at Chelsea or somewhere like that before then, which would be a real shame. Can see Rice starting the first few difficult games Can see Rice starting the first few difficult games at 6. Throwing Zubi in at the deep end is just too risky. All depends on how preseason goes. Zubimendi's going to have the entire preseason. And from what everyone seems to say, he's an incredibly intelligent footballer. And you watch him play, you can tell. Physically, he's not the quickest. Mentally, he is. And so I feel like, given the entire preseason, he might be up to speed for the start. In the same way that when we started 22-23, Gabriel Jesus was up to speed. Zinchenko was up to speed. 23-24, Declan Rice was up to speed. I mean, he actually said himself he wasn't fully up to speed. But I do feel like for top players like that, there's an expectation, I think, that you should be ready to start games. I find it crazy that all the experts and creators said Arsenal only need a top 9 and they win the league, but signing another 4 or 5 players for squad depth with the left wing and centre forward and we have no chance of a title. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that's what I said. That's what I said. I think maybe I said it to someone on a previous stream that said even if we signed Sesko and Rodrygo, having already signed Zubimendi, they don't see us competing. It's like, well, I don't really understand what more you could do to compete at that point. Which I think is therefore either overestimating Liverpool and or Man City or underestimating Arsenal. But again, time will tell. Time will tell. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream, apart from today's quiz question. So if you are going to jump off before the quiz question, which I know some people like to do, please do subscribe. Before you jump off, please do just subscribe and like the stream. That would be incredibly generous of you to do. But for those of you that like to stay for the quiz question, get your fingers on your keyboards, because the first person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. This is a fun question. We'll do this one. I know some people like to start trying to get their question, the answers in early, but we're going to do this. Okay. The question is, and I will give you the multiple choices once someone has got it correct. How many trophies did Sol Campbell win in his first season as an Arsenal player? How many trophies did Sol Campbell win in his first season as an Arsenal player? Now, the options here are pretty simple. 0, 1, or 2. They are your multiple choice answers. And the first person to get it correct was Marlon Ben. It was indeed 2. Mark Gregory was 2nd. Tom AFC was 3rd. Carter was 4th. And Sam Shapiro was 5th. It was, of course, the Premier League and the FA Cup double that Sol Campbell won in his first year at Arsenal. So there you go. Congratulations. There's not a VAR check. There might be a VAR check on your screen, but on my screen, as I'm sure some people will confirm, Marlon Ben was first. So there we go. Congratulations. Goal given. Ross Lawman, goal given. There we go. Congratulations to Marlon Ben. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. Jordan, I appreciate that very much. I do try to be. Do a starting now comment to stop early guesses. Yeah, I should do. Yeah, but then no one could have guessed 2 before the question had been read out, surely. Like, what would you randomly guess 2 for? I don't know. Maybe I will. Anyway, look, like I said, I appreciate... By the way, this has been an incredible stream. An absolutely incredible stream. To all of the people that gifted memberships. To the people that did the super chats. And to those of you that just watch and subscribe and like and contribute to the chat. I massively appreciate all of you. It is genuinely... It's incredible to be able to do this as a job. And for that, I'm very grateful. So thank you for that. Enjoy your evenings. It's a Friday. Enjoy your weekends. There will be more YouTube content coming out over the weekend, so make sure you keep an eye out. Join the Discord if you've not already. And other than that, I will catch you all on the next one. But until then, goodbye.